What was the worst thing about your first associate job? What is the crazy clause that was in your associate contract? This is Paul, Dr. Nacho Goodman, founder of Dental Nachos and Dentist Job Connect. I'm here on my walking treadmill. Thanks, Gary Bird. Super grateful that when I was doing a podcast with him, I was like, Gary, you're walking. How are you walking? He's like, I got this walking treadmill. I got the exact same one. So if you would like to know what kind of walking treadmill that both Gary Bird and Paul Goodman had, just text WALK to 215-543-6454. It's a super easy way to stay active and put in steps. But what I want to share with you, crazy clauses in contracts. So what I did, I went on in Facebook land and I asked, what's a crazy clause that was in your associate contract? And I also asked, what was the worst part about your associate job? I also asked, what was the best part? That got like 5 comments. But I asked what was the worst part, and it got many, many, many comments. So I'm going to read them to you. What was crazy parts about contracts, worst parts about your job, so you don't make the same mistake. If you would like help for free from Dental Nachos in not signing an associate contract that's not so nuts, this is not legal advice. I'm not even an attorney. I did like A Few Good Men when I was growing up. The movie with Tom Cruise, You Can't Handle the Truth. So if you want to learn the truth about the challenges out there in the real world of dentisting, text crazy to 215-543-6454. We will text you back resources to help, including one of our best courses, Lies, Loans, and Life After Dental School. This course has in it top 10 red flags to look for in an associate contract. So go through this checklist. Most definitely hire a dental focused attorney. Do not skip that step. Do not be dentist cheap. You just invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in 4 years of your life, 5 years of your life, 6 years of your life into becoming a dentist. When your friends who got regular jobs after school were doing things like networking and building their careers, you were in a basement burning yourself with wax. So we are not prepared for the real world after we leave dental school. Use these tools, especially Lies, Loans, and Life After Dental School, which goes over how to be financially savvy, a checklist for success when looking at your associate contract, which is not legal advice, but it is an opportunity for you to look for red flags, still hire a dental focused attorney, but don't bring 10 contracts to a dental focused attorney, rule some out on your own. There's a 50-mile non-compete, which was one of the things from the crazy clauses. Don't accept that job. That's nacho nuts. So let's go over some learning points, some scary stories, some crazy clauses in an associate contract together. So, Paul Goodman, I have some advice from a dentist who burned their nachos and doesn't want you to burn their nachos. Ask the right questions before accepting the job. I wouldn't have signed the non-compete for the entire county. I would have sat with an attorney to look at my contract. I would have come with expectations that need to be met. I would have also accepted the other job offer, paying $25,000 more. Good news is I learned the type of dentist I did not want to be. So this is great advice inside of my phone, which can be inside of your phone by texting crazy to 215-543-6454. So let's break this down. This is an awesome dentist who this morning shared with Facebook World that she made a mistake. She would not do this again. And she would sit down with an attorney before she signed a contract. She would not have agreed to a non-compete that was the whole county. I do a podcast with the amazing Rob Montgomery, dental focused attorney, is a great team. When you say non-competes are not enforceable, you're just talking gobbledygook, because to find out if they're enforceable, you may have to go to court. To find out if they're enforceable, by the time you find that out, you may have missed out on your practice loans. Yes, I know there are some states that do not have non-competes. So if you live inside of one of those states, good news for you, but there's many states, including the states I dentist in, and the state that I live in, where non-competes are a thing. So just because you find out later they might not be enforceable, you may have missed out on other jobs and buying practices. So let's now look at some more feedback from your colleagues in social media land. What was the worst thing about your first associate job? Toxic coworkers. Pushy manager who thought she can treatment plan and make me stay late almost every day. This was straight out of dental school, so I learned how to stand up for myself really fast. So what can you learn from that? If you're in an environment where someone is influencing your treatment planning, especially a non-dentist, ask questions before you take the job. Hey, when it comes to treatment planning my patients, what kind of autonomy, what kind of freedom do I have? Do I get to treatment plan my own patients? Is there anyone else who has impact on the treatment plan? Someone else wrote here, carrots on a stick. Sometimes they dangle things in front of you like partnerships or buy-ins to get you to stay longer. So make sure you ask really good questions about that. Worked for an HMO, DMO practice. Medicaid was a challenge. Doesn't mean HMOs, DMOs, or Medicaid are bad. Just means that if you're working in an environment that takes insurances with low reimbursement, you have to be aware of how much dentistry you may need to do to be able to meet your daily guarantee. If you do have a daily guarantee, highly recommend you get a daily, monthly, or yearly guarantee. We offer those to all of our associates from day one till the end of their associate. Think of it like a guaranteed salary with bonus incentives, a guaranteed salary with bonus incentives. Only doing 3 surface amalgams and composites and hygiene checks. I did 1 crown and bridge the entire year. Yes, I used the bridge word. I'm breaking out in hives. Bridges are not my favorite thing. Let's see what else we have here. Nobody in the office knew who I was or why I was there. That's a great one. So when you go for an interview and you're joining an office, say, how am I going to be introduced to the team, the patients? What we do. If anyone would like information on how we introduce our associates through email, in person, through info in the office, we make a nice little stand-up thing of the associate with their picture. We hand them out before the hygiene check so that they know they might be checked by someone who's new, and we're so proud and lucky to have them. If you would like info on how to introduce your associate to the people in your dentisting neighborhood, suppliers, specialists, patients, team, please just text intro to 215-543-6454. Text intro to 215-543-6454, and I'll put some stuff together for you. This person said there were some very interesting dress code requirements. Worked in an oral surgery office. Every patient that comes in the door will need to have some teeth extracted with general anesthesia. No such thing as just a consult. So if you're going to have your treatment planning impacted, please ask about that. These are for awareness. I really enjoyed mine up until the end. So here's a good one. Happy, but it doesn't seem to end happy. Once I went to part-time after I bought my practice, the already highly volume managed care office started overloading my schedule. It was extremely stressful to be there. Only stayed for about 8 months until I could go to my job full-time. I didn't have an assistant. So key. Let me say it again. This person didn't have an assistant. So trying to do full contact arts and crafts dentistry on people who don't want to be there, that's dentisting, without an assistant is nacho nuts. You're not going to be able to do your best work. You're not going to be able to stay on time, and your stress level is going to be enormous. So ask on interviews, hey, if I work here, seems like a good office. If I was to work here, who would be my assistant? How long have they been an assistant? It's a totally fair question to ask. If you're not going to have an assistant at all, I would not take that job. Okay, I would not take a job that you don't have a dental assistant. It wasn't so bad coming out of dental school since I was used to cleaning and setting up the room and doing my own FMXs and bagging instruments. So if you're going to be bagging instruments and setting and cleaning up your room, you're not going to be able to see other patients and help other people. That's very, very difficult. That's a very, very difficult ask if you need to produce enough dentistry in a patient-centered way. Always patient-centered first, but being productive and profitable is also great because that helps the office, that helps the patients, that helps the team. So patient-centered first, but if you have to do other things that most dentists don't do, like bagging their own instruments, that's going to take time away from what you can do on your patients. So this is one of my favorites, although this is totally crazy. I'm just sad that this even happened. But someone said, this dentist made his own implants and they would fall out. Also, the abutments were cemented into the implants like a post and core. I had to help the hygienist remove gobs of cement from the implants and hygiene checks. Also, I was called by the Illinois Department of Finance and Professional Regulation about my boss. I also stopped getting paid on time. Office manager taking x-rays in my restoration to check my work without any dentist prescribing it. That's totally nacho nuts. And no medical need. Assistants refusing to follow my procedure protocols, and those same assistants talking behind my back since day one. So those are some negative things about associate jobs. If you would like help not signing a contract, that's nacho nuts. Learning how to survive and thrive in the real world of dentisting. If you're a practice owner, knowing what you would want to put in a contract, text crazy to 215-543-6454 and don't put these things in. Now let's go to this list that my team has printed out of what is the craziest clause in your associate contract. What is the craziest clause in your associate contract? You owe $500 a day that you end your contract early. Very key. there are contracts that associates are probably signing today without having a dental focus attorney look at it, where they are agreeing to pay the office if they leave early. Agreeing to pay the office if they leave early before the appropriate termination notice. Now, when could something like this make sense? I would not want to put this into any of my contracts for my associates. But if you have a 30-day, if you're supposed to give 30-day notice and you leave immediately, maybe something like that could make sense. But if you have a 6-month termination notice, which is not so nuts, do not sign a 6-month termination notice. That's my best non-lawyer recommendation. Imagine if you were to pay $1,000 a day, $20,000 a month for 5 months, you could have $100,000 you owe that office. A 50-mile non-compete, that's crazy. The Santa Claus, I like that one, the Santa Claus. Restrictive covenant, 7 air miles, 5 years and up to $10,000 a day if in violation. I also counted from any practice location. So if you're working for a group or corporate group, make sure your restrictive covenant, if it's for every office, you may be not allowed to dentist in a huge area. Think about this. Imagine you were dating, and before you went on the first date with someone in Center City, Philadelphia, they said, hey, if this does not work out, you can't date anyone else in the whole city. Would you agree to that? Nobody would agree to that. So if your restrictive covenant is NACHO NUTS, ask questions, don't sign it. If your restrictive covenant is reasonable, let's say where I practice in the suburbs, if it's a 2-mile restrictive covenant, that could be reasonable. Inside of a city, that could be totally unreasonable. In an area that's outside of the suburbs, maybe 10 miles is reasonable. But ask good questions, get a dental focus attorney to review it. We'll do a couple more here. A non-compete spanning 2 entire counties from where you worked for 2 years. 12-mile non-compete in the middle of Phoenix. Employees are not allowed to make any other income. That one seems especially not so nuts. Employee must pay to find a replacement after the contract is terminated. An associate must go to Clearwater, Florida every month to participate in meetings. Many other interesting clauses are present on the contract that was several pages long. Then the owner wondered why I declined the job offer. Pay the office $75,000 if you leave in less than 90 days. Okay, so these are crazy things inside of contracts that you should be aware of. Get professional help and really learn to protect yourself. You just invested 4 to 8 years of your life, hundreds of thousands of dollars in your career. Do not be dentist cheap and not hire a dental focus attorney. Start your search early. Start your search early. So I want to just throw here up on the screen as a gift. If you would like to get access to our on-demand platform with hundreds of hours of content, and helpful tips, just text WALK to 215-543-6454, and we will send you back a totally free pass. So text WALK to 215-543-6454 to get a free pass to watch all of our on-demand NACHO helpful communication tips and career tips. 3% of collections placed into an escrow account that gets paid to the associate if they stay on for 3 years. If they leave before 3 years, they don't see any of the money. 3% into an escrow of collection into an escrow account that you must save for 3 years to get. So as you can see, with these pages and pages, I would owe $100,000 if I were to treat any of the dental practice patients after I left. 80-mile contingency. During the notice of 90 days, whether you quit or are fired, you do not get any minimum at all. Previous employer forging contract with forged signature. 6 months to terminate the employment. If I leave, I pay their cost of finding the associate. So I am not an attorney. I'm a doctor of nachos. Very hard to get that degree. Okay, so what I'm sharing with you is hopefully by listening to this, hopefully I make you aware. Hopefully I make you a little scared. Hopefully I make you want to get prepared to protect what you have created with your dental degree, your livelihood, and your sanity. Text WALK to 215-543-6454. If you would like to check out our on-demand CE platform, you get a 72-hour pass to take as much CE as you want. So just text WALK to 215-543-6454.